please remain standing. Presenting the colors this evening is the Winnacunnet High School Marine.
System's not on.
Gosh, up here! You see me?
Preparation is...
One, two. It's on.
Batteries up there?
Come on, give me a tap!
Thank you. Please remain standing. Presenting the colors this evening is the Winnacunnet High School Marine Corps JROTC Color Guard. The Color Guard is led by Cadet Major Rowan Perkins, who is graduating this evening. Carrying the national flag is Cadet Second Lieutenant Jason Ramos, and carrying the Marine Corps colors is Cadet Second Lieutenant Josh Brady. They are escorted by Cadet Corporal Chris Bowes. At this time, I ask Catherine Moran, Senior Class Historian, to come to the stage.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing while the Winnacunnet High School Band plays the Star-Spangled Banner.
Please be seated. Good evening and welcome to the Winnacunnet High School graduation for the class of 2019. Before I say a few words to the graduates, I would like to introduce our invited guest. Our guest speaker, Governor Chris Sununu. Superintendent of Schools, SAU 21, Dr. William Lupini. Assistant Superintendent of Schools, SAU 21, Dr. Rona Cadaret. Business Administrator, SAU 21, Matthew Ferrara. Superintendent of Schools, SAU 90, Kathleen Murphy. Winnacunnet School Board Chair, Henry Marsh. Winnacunnet School Board members, Fran Henderson, Leslie LaFawn, and Catherine Antonio. Senior Class Principal, Mike DeBoule. Senior Class Advisors, Emily Frizzoco and Amy Waterhouse. Also behind me is David Hobbs, currently Curriculum Coordinator of Winnacunnet High School, soon to be Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum at SAU 21. And Caroline Arakalian, currently Special Service Director here at Winnacunnet High School, soon to be Student Services Director at SAU 21. And also soon coming up to the stage to read the names, we have Gabrielle Borden and Brandon Michaud. I would like to acknowledge Ken Martin and the band and Patrick Moore and the Chamber Singers and thank them for their participation in tonight's ceremony. Thank you to the custodial staff for tonight's setup and John Croto for the sound system. Thank you to Amy Scholes for her efforts in getting you ready tonight. And thank you to the class marshals who will be directing you through tonight's ceremony, Campbell Parrish and Jack Taylor. Please take a moment to recognize the faculty and staff here this evening that have provided you the instruction and guidance to reach this point tonight. Also, a special thank you to our retiring staff for the many years of service, Stephen Lichtenstein, Cindy Cummings, Pam Gooddick, and Barbara Rashid. We wish them the best of luck in their retirement. Congratulations to each of you, the class of 2019. Today's ceremony is an opportunity for you to relax, to reflect upon your successes, and to feel proud of yourselves and your accomplishments. Congratulations are also in order for your family and friends who have been a vital part of your success. Graduates, let's take a moment to acknowledge the family and friends who have provided the support and guidance for each of you. Tonight, we recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2019 as they graduate from Winnacunnet High School. The class of 2019 is here tonight after successfully completing all the graduation requirements set forth by the Winnacunnet School Board. 60 years ago, Winnacunnet celebrated its first graduating class. In the 1959 yearbook, it is written that Winnacunnet will expand scholastically, athletically, and socially in the future as it grows in numbers and increased participation activities. Let's see how Winnacunnet has grown. 1959 yearbook. Looks a little bit different than what you guys have. Class of 1959, there were 66 students. Tonight, class of 2019, 224 students. In 1959, Winnacunnet had 18 clubs. Today, we have over 40 clubs and organizations. We've grown from 6 teams in sports to over 30. Over 80% of our students participate in extracurricular activities, and over 45% participate in athletics. Scholastically, Winnacunnet is consistently recognized as one of the best high schools in the state and the nation. Thank you all for your support. Athletically, our teams consistently reach the championships, and we wish the best of luck to the girls softball team and the boys lacrosse team, both participating in state championships tomorrow. Now, with respect to socially, in 1959, I do not believe they were talking about social media, especially since the microchip was just invented in 1959. However, this class, the class of 2019, is actively involved in the Winnacunnet community, logging over 8,500 hours of community service, and I'm sure there are many more hours logged. These are great accomplishments. Class of 2019, you are now part of Winnacunnet's legacy. Individually, one drop, together in an ocean. 4 years ago, each of you entered through the doors of Winnacunnet. Now together, the class of 2019 has become an immovable force. With your classmates, you have formed bonds and friendships, accepted challenges, and overcame obstacles to achieve the best for all. You have learned to accept differences and not judge them, and have worked together to create a positive environment for the school. As you leave to Winnacunnet to embark on new journeys, college, career, military, or travel, you may once again feel that you are that single drop. As you have done here, become involved and continue to make a difference by taking small actions daily. Learn and grow and be whatever you want to make of yourself. You are no longer one drop, but part of the ocean that rises each day to make a difference for the future. You have demonstrated the essential skills and academic competencies to be successful. More important, though, you have attained and demonstrated such attributes as creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. Through your experiences, you are now ready to take on the next phase of your journey, whether it is college, career, military, or travel. At this time, I want to recognize Jesse James, who will be joining the Marines after he leaves Winnacunnet. Class of 2019, you have made a difference, and I know that you will continue to make a difference and achieve great success. Whatever you get involved in, I urge you that you do it for the right reasons. Do it because you sincerely care about it and truly enjoy it. You will have to achieve a balance in what you do, but keep in mind what the goal should be. Is it something worthwhile, and does it provide assistance to others? It is not about demonstrating what you know, but being able to demonstrate that you care. As you leave Winnacunnet, continue to make a difference and be an inspiration to others. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To even know one life has breathed here because you have lived, that is to have succeeded. You should all be extremely proud of your accomplishments tonight. I feel fortunate to have been able to watch you grow and learn and become part of Winnacunnet's warrior pride and spirit. Whatever course your future takes, it is my sincere hope that you will reflect upon your experiences here as having prepared you to meet and deal with the challenges that life will present. Remember your family and friends that have guided you and assisted you to this point. While you may be moving away from them, they will be there in the background to support you. Stay in touch with them. 4 years ago, I gave you some words of advice to be successful in high school. I repeat them here tonight, for they are equally important as you leave high school. Be respectful and show respect towards all. Be present and on time every day in everything you do. Always be prepared and have a smile on your face throughout the day. Be thankful for the successes you have enjoyed and the resources that you have been provided. Continue with your hard work. Your motivation, dedication, and enthusiasm will serve you well in the upcoming years and take you to many places. On behalf of myself, the faculty, and the staff, I wish to each and every one of you the happiness of a productive life, the respect of your fellow human beings, and the love of your family. May the future be yours. As you leave Winnacunnet, continue to dream, continue to think, continue to do. Best of luck and congratulations to the class of 2019. Thank you. At this time, I ask Caitlin Trott, Senior Class Secretary, to introduce the Winnacunnet School Board Chair.
It is an honor to introduce to you the chairperson of the Winnacunnet School Board, Mr. Henry Marsh. A 1961 Winnacunnet graduate, he has compiled an impressive list of accomplishments. After stellar high school and collegiate wrestling careers, he went on to become a 1968 Olympic trials finalist. He was a 4-time finalist for National Collegiate Wrestling Coach of the Year while head coach at UNH. An inductee of the National Collegiate Wrestling Hall of Fame. He was twice voted New Hampshire Businessman of the Year and was a member of President Bush's Business Advisory Board. As an alumni, Mr. Marsh has continued to serve our community as a member of the school board. His tenure dating back to 2007. He is, without a doubt, a great advocate and supporter of all things Winnacunnet. Please welcome Mr. Henry Marsh.
Thank you. Parents, be proud. I was with this group last evening, and from 6 o'clock until 10:30, or you were dancing and having a great time. And what a great group. People that weren't dancing, they'd go over to the table and get them out and to dance, and they had a great time, a great group. Every time I stand behind a podium, I think of this as a college coach. Behind a podium, I once said, "Can you hear me?" "Yeah, coach, we can hear you, but where the heck are you?" There was an administrator in a graduation that was wondering how he was going to start and said, "Always start with a joke." Well, Winnacunnet High School, to me, in 1959, I walked through those doors a lot different from what it is today. But to be proud, we were checking through the scholarships and financial aid. This group, and I mentioned to them last night, this is our newest millionaires. They have over $1 million in scholarships from academics to athletics. Congratulations, guys. Parents, be proud. At this time, I'd like to ask all of the alumni or people that attended Winnacunnet if you would stand and we could recognize you. Please do. Great. Welcome back. Welcome back. 2 years ago, this class was ranked the #1 high school in the state. This year, in the top 100 in the country. Congratulations. Parents, be proud. Be proud. But again, in 4 years, they'll probably come back and see you. Thank you.
Would Jenna Myers please come to the podium for the Winnacunnet salute?
Hi, everybody. Throughout my 4 years of high school, I've learned 4 fundamental lessons. They appeared to me through different forms and in unexpected ways, but are extremely evident nonetheless. Lesson 1, never babysit for your teachers. For a long period of time, I babysat for Miss Goupel and her children. And as much as I love her kids and her family, I had one night where my sanity was challenged to the max. We were having a fairly normal night when her oldest daughter came up to me and said, "Jenna, our fish is dead." Although she was clearly upset, I thought to myself that it was no big deal. I could handle a dead fish. A few minutes later, I had transferred the fish to the toilet and we were saying our poignant goodbyes to it. As I went to flush the fish, it met some serious resistance and it clogged. So now, I was surrounded by 3 crying children mourning the loss of their beloved pet, and I had to plunge the fish down the toilet. I mean, really, who could have dreamed up this predicament? Now I know what you're thinking. Jenna, how are you possibly going to tie Mrs. Goupel's fish, may he rest in peace, to a larger, more inspirational message? Well, you see, sometimes absolutely nothing in life is going to go the way you want it to. Things will be more sad, more extreme, and more confusing than you thought they would be. You are going to encounter your very own fish situation, and you will have to step up to the plate and do what is called for. Life is messy and unpredictable, and the people around you may not completely understand what is going on, but it will be up to you to make the hard decision to whip out your plunger and to get the necessary job done. Lesson 2, always put tissues on your packing list. For those of you who know me well, you know that I tend to be a little emotional about even the smallest of things. However, my number of tears to minutes ratio was never higher than when I took calculus. Something about differential equations and indefinite integrals just made my brain melt. Now, looking back through the haze of tears and Kleenex, it occurs to me that I never once had to suffer alone. I was surrounded by constant support, whether it was Mr. Michaud trying to convince me that failing a quiz really wasn't the end of the world, my mom silently bringing me snacks while I was studying, or my classmates explaining a concept to me for what seemed like the 30th time. I could go down to guidance and have a block-long therapy session, or hop into the pool at the end of the night and forget my woes over a kick set. I was surrounded by so many people who loved and supported me, and I may never have this kind of support again. Winnacunnet is a special place with so many people rooting for you to succeed. We will have to work extremely hard to find a similar community, and it is important that we as a class recognize our support system before we find ourselves without it. Lesson 3, always, always, always defog your back windshield. Here I was, a young junior, fresh out of driver's ed, less than a month after I had gotten my license. I was late to school and rushing to avoid the dreaded yellow slip that I still thought was the scariest possible thing when I made my fatal mistake. Without clearing my window, I backed out of the makeshift parking spot at the end of the driveway and promptly slammed into my garage door. The damage was fixed that day, but that white scratch of shame haunted my rear bumper until about a month ago when it was finally removed. The point that I am trying to make here is that you will make garage denting mistakes that seem like the end of the world to you. You will have to come clean, own up to your faults, and risk potential shame or drawback from these mistakes for what could be a very long time. The scars will stay with you until one day they fade, brushed away by time and a very nice repairman at the mechanic. Lesson 4, my final and most recent lesson. There is a right way and a wrong way to hold a tennis racket. I joined the tennis team just this year to keep myself busy and active during my senior spring. I was expecting to be awful at it, and no matter how much my teammates tried to tell me otherwise, I was. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to hold the racket and hit the ball so that it actually went where I wanted it to go. I started off at number 12 on the ladder and lost 3 back-to-back challenge matches to move me even lower. But the thing was, I didn't care where I was on the ladder. I was having a blast learning new skills and getting to connect with people I never would have otherwise interacted with. For me, tennis represented something larger than a mere high school sports team. Trying tennis was something new and outside of my comfort zone. In the fall, some of us are heading to college, some to the military, some to the workforce, and some on unimaginable adventures. I challenge you to try new things and to not be afraid of the failures that may result. Continue to be lifelong learners and never strive for complacency. Live vividly, love recklessly, and whatever you do, don't babysit for your teacher's children. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to ask McLean William Baker, Student Council President and the Class of 2019 Valedictorian, for his message to the class to come forward.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to say that I am truly honored to speak in front of you all today as both the student body president and valedictorian. Today, we will embark on our individual journeys as Winnacunnet alumni. We will be taking on careers, trade schools, college, and the military within the next few years. As we take these next steps, however, we must understand our past in order to find our future. Looking back on our 4 years here together, there is a lot to think about. Some of you may disagree with me, but I feel as though our journey through high school has been like a great voyage out to sea. We have set sail, dropped the anchor, braved the storm, and even had our twilight cruise. To begin, we are going to rewind all the way back to freshman year. The first day of school, walking into Winnacunnet, we were all our own small, little boats setting sail into unexplored territories. Well, some of us were small. I don't think he knows this, but the first day of freshman year, I walked into school right behind Jack Shockey. I would like you all to take a second and picture 4'10" little Mac next to Jack Shockey towering at over 6 feet tall. Understandably, I was a little afraid that I wouldn't be able to find my place here. I'm sure a lot of us felt that way. The beginning of that year was filled with constant exploration. We were searching for our classes. Yeah, some of you might have had it down within the day, but it took me a couple weeks to find it to Block 3 on my own. Hunting for our lunch table and finding our place at Winnacunnet. By the end of the year, however, we all began to find our sense of belonging. Like a boat set out to sail, we made it out of the harbor, the first leg of our journey. We were now looking to drop the anchor and begin to explore Winnacunnet. With summer fast approaching, we looked forward to a much-needed break and hoped that all of our progress wouldn't be washed away. As sophomore year came upon us, we were more than prepared. We had a successful start to our odyssey together, and with newfound confidence and a growing support system, nothing could stop us. We found our home and set down our anchors. From there, we saw the limitless horizon and countless opportunities waiting for us. We tried all kinds of new teams, clubs, and organizations, but always had our safety net. Sure, there were some rocky seas, like freaking out over our first major assignments, or the inescapable terror that was Harambe memes. These minor events, however, were far outweighed by the many successes we found. We began to thrive in our new environment and adapted to some of the most iconic and exciting changes of our careers. The Patriots won the Super Bowl, mass Instagram updates shook the social media industry, and the life-changing, widespread, wonderful, high-tech gadget that was the fidget spinner changed our lives.
Hold on. Pick up where you left off. Give me the mic. Sorry.
Can I just keep going? I know. I'm a disappointment. Right? I broke it.
Blame this on a booth. Second. Wait.
There we go. Okay, so back to where we started. The Patriots won the Super Bowl, mass Instagram updates shook the social media industry, and the life-changing, widespread, wonderful, high-tech gadget that was the fidget spinner drove our parents insane. Aside from those victories, our current friendships strengthened and new ones began to form. We not only found friends to support us, but also unexpected mentors along the way. I was very fortunate to work with Mrs. Fegan, who taught me how to calm my emotions and approach a problem the right way. I also had Mr. Michaud, who taught me to not give up and keep working at what you are passionate about, even if it does begin to get hard. Oh, and I can't forget my most important mentors, my parents, brother Tommy, and sisters Lizzie and Grace. I've learned more lessons from them than I could ever even count, and they really do mean the world to me. Sophomore year was relaxing, but possibly the most important part of our journey. We found each other, and through that, we were beginning to find ourselves. We were successful sophomores, but that was only before the calm before the storm that would be junior year. Junior year was a tempest. We were told it would be tough, but none of us really believed it. Within weeks of starting school, we were shocked by the challenge. Our first APs were in full swing, and other tough classes joined the fray. Our massive load of assignments continued to pile higher. Furthermore, we were faced with the idea of a future beyond high school for the first time. Everyone was asking, what colleges are you looking at, or what do you want to do with your life? Meanwhile, the only future I was looking forward to was my next dinner and the ice cream right after. This reality check hit hard and only increased the academic turmoil. There was more than just our workload, however. Social circles grew and shrunk as new friends were made and old friends were lost. Some priorities changed while others remained the same. In short, much of what we knew turned upside down. We did, however, begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Prom brought a night of wonderful memories, even if the mozzarella sticks were raw. Our driver's licenses brought the freedom to do things entirely on our own, and the Beach Boys had a championship season. We took on leadership positions in Winnacunnet's 4 new sports. In addition to athletics, we added a new math class And I would love to thank the Winnacunnet School Board, as well as Mr. Dow, for the wonderful opportunity and amazing memories I will never forget. Having made it through the storm, we opened our sails once again and looked forward to what we knew would be a bright future. Senior year was our twilight cruise, our final voyage, and boy, was it one for the record books, literally. Beach Boys Part 2 had the most consecutive wins of any D1 football team. And to really make our fall shine, the field hockey team took home yet another state title. We have also had an extremely impressive spring season, so best wishes to the boys lacrosse team, softball team, and the Winnacunnet track team athletes as they play in their state championships and New England's meet tomorrow. Our athletes have signed their letters, actors, actresses, and musicians have led stunning performances, art students completed truly amazing masterpieces, and we all became leaders in Winnacunnet's plethora of clubs and organizations. And what is maybe most impressive is that many of us not only balanced school activities, but also worked part-time throughout high school. In our final year at Winnacunnet, we were all attacking our passions with ferocity and really coming into ourselves. Furthermore, we refined our individual skill sets and prepared for our next journey. We were taking lead in our lives, but also learning those final tricks we needed to thrive in our next steps. Now, here we are, having finished the wild ride that we call high school that we have been on for the past 4 years. We are sailing into our next journey, but will not forget what we have here. The lessons learned, relationships created, and ultimately the many wonderful memories we have made. So, best wishes to each and every one of you on your adventures, but never forget the home you will always have as a Winnacunnet warrior.
At this time, we'd like to introduce Melissa Rooney, Senior Class Vice President, to come up to introduce our guest speaker.
Christopher Sununu is a remarkable individual who we are lucky to have serve as our state governor. Sununu graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he earned his bachelor's degree in environmental and civil engineering. After being elected to office in January of 2017, Sununu has worked to provide property tax relief, return millions of dollars to cities and towns for roads, bridges, and safer schools, invest $275 million into clean water projects, expand educational opportunities for students, and has signed job-creating business tax cuts into law. After promoting policies improving the health and wellness of all citizens of New Hampshire, Sununu was awarded New Future's 2017 President's Award. Governor Sununu is also one of 5 governors nationwide honored by AARP with their Capital Caregiver 2017 award and has received CASA's 2018 John McDermott Champion of Children Award. As a dedicated and hardworking businessman, politician, and engineer, I am honored to welcome NH Governor Chris Sununu to the stand.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm listening to that intro going, oh, this is the boring one. Well, good evening. Great to see everybody. Obviously, thank you, Principal McGowan and all the folks from the superintendent, all the folks from the school district who are joining us here tonight, and of course, to the class of 2019, congratulations. It's actually one of the hardest speeches I do when I talk to students, because I know that a politician standing in the way of a diploma and a party never goes very well. So I actually wrote something down, which if you know me is a very rare thing. So you guys got me actually nervous, believe it or not. Look, each of you have a ton to be proud of this evening. When you look at the academics, take pride in a lot of the educational successes that you've had, late nights spent studying. We heard Jenna talk about the importance of integrating a calculus equation, and trust me, Jenna, that'll really be important later in life. I'm just kidding, you will never use that again, like ever. I'm an engineer and I'm telling you, you're never gonna use it again. The math department is furious at me right now. But as you guys know, your years here are more about academics, and it's obviously incredibly important. You put a lot of hard work in. But as has been discussed by a lot of the other speakers here tonight, you take pride in a lot of the friendships that you form, the clubs that you join, the sports and athletics that you take part in, the community service, the hundreds and thousands of hours that this class has taken on as community service projects, not just here in Hampton, but all across the seacoast. I was looking at some of the details. It's amazing. And I'm a huge believer that these are the real aspects of what makes an individual, the real value going forward. It's kind of all the extras that you do in high school, and obviously some very informative years. So here at graduation, a day you've literally been waiting for 12 years. And here's another thing I was thinking about. Is there anything else in life you wait for 12 years? Knowing that day is going to come, and here it is. I mean, literally, first graders go, boy, I can't wait till I'm graduating in high school. And this is the day. Now, the issue I take a little bit, I was thinking about this, it's called graduation. Graduation is like an ending. And you notice how in college they call it commencement, the beginning. So it's a bit of an antiquated term. I feel like high schoolers get gypped, frankly, because it really is a beginning. It really is about the next steps. And in this day and age, the doors of opportunity are absolutely endless. I mean, there's so much that you can actually do. So in preparing for this address, I thought about, okay, my own personal career, how did that commence, right? What were the things that were important that I took forward, and what advice could I give? Advice from a politician. What could go wrong, right? So my first piece of advice is to be wary of unsolicited advice. It is often full of misinformation and bias. But given that I'm the governor, trust me, it'll be spot on. And looking back on my career, and it's been a fairly young career, I'm only 44, I'm not that far off of high school. At least that's what myself and all your parents tell themselves, by the way. I was in high school just a few years ago. But what I do remember most wasn't necessarily what happened between 8 and 5 in the middle of the day. It's other aspects of your life that you have to appreciate will be the strongest memories and will be provide the most direction for you going forward. And I've had a variety of careers. As folks know, I was an engineer, I was in business, I ran a ski resort. Don't ask me how that all happened. And they were all incredible experiences. And they were incredible experiences not because they were easy and fun. And just the opposite, they were incredibly challenging. And that's really where the value comes. When I had gone to MIT, as was noted, and I won't lie to you, it was wicked hard. It was really hard. I was burnt out. I left MIT, I was burnt out, and I hiked the Appalachian Trail. I decided to take 5 or 6 months of my life and go into the woods. I know that sounds like really weird, and it was at the time, and it still is to a certain extent. But when you are in the woods, walking 2,200 miles from Maine to Georgia, one thing it really did for myself, and others that I saw that were out there, knowing that I didn't know if I was going to finish and all that, but it really sets your priorities. It really does, and it provided a life lesson for me that I continue on today. When you're constantly worrying about where your next drink of water is going to come from, you start realizing that in life you got to start prioritizing. Not everything is as paramount as the moment may seem. It puts things in perspective. So the next piece of advice is really not to take anything for granted, right? Every day is a gift. And I got to tell you, I love my job, don't get me wrong, and I love traveling the state, and I spend a lot of time with individuals with all different types of issues and concerns, and we have an opioid crisis, you have people trying to get mental health services. Let me tell you, from someone who has to hear a lot of tough stories, every day is a gift. I lived across the country in a lot of different places as well. I grew up here in New Hampshire, but I lived in California, I lived in Massachusetts, I lived in Virginia, and just being governor now gives you some perspective on really how we do it differently here in New Hampshire. And I'm not saying don't leave the state, whatever you do, don't leave. No, you got to, it's understandable. You want to go kind of sow the wild oats a little bit. Go to the big city, find a job somewhere. But I got to tell you, at the end of the day, in all my travels, we do it different and we do it better. We really do. Not just in terms of government, but it's really about local control. It's really about having family and community being the heart at everything you do. You really don't find that in other parts of the country. And I think it's when you grow up here, we take it a little bit for granted. It's a difference in how we use that word community, what that means to us, shared responsibility, personal responsibility. One of the stories I do often tell, my friend Dean Kamen over in Manchester, a lot of folks know Dean. He's the wacky inventor of everything from the Segway to his new ARMI initiatives. He's kind of like our own little crazy Ben Franklin in Manchester. And Dean tells a great story. He grew up in New York City. And he came to a conference in Boston once. And he was coming out of the conference, and he saw a bunch of license plates, and some of them were from New Hampshire. And he was going to get it in his car and drive back down to New York. And he saw "Live Free or Die" on the license plate. And he said, what kind of state puts "Live Free or Die" on their license plate? I got to check this out. He had never come to New Hampshire. So he got in his car and he drove 30 miles north into New Hampshire. Long story short, he never left, right? And it's because of that license plate. It isn't just 4 words. It is truly how we live here. It's kind of how we differentiate ourselves. And it's good to be differentiated. It doesn't mean we do everything right all the time. But again, those 4 words really encompass, I think, the gold standard that we're constantly trying to live up to. I also think people ask me a lot about government. And I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be outside on a beautiful day instead of that big granite building in Concord. It can be a little tough in there sometimes, especially this week if you're watching the budget, good God. But think about this. How we do government is so representative of how we do it different. We have 400 elected officials. We have one of the largest parliamentary bodies in the world, and it only represents 1 million people. By definition, is the most representative body of government in the world, and they get paid the sum total of $100 a year. They're volunteers. And you want to be a member of that, put $25 in your pocket, go to Kinko's, make some copies, put up some signs, knock on some doors. Anybody can be a representative here. Anybody can be a senator. Anybody can be a governor. That's how we do it. Because again, it's about how we serve, not just the elected elite. One thing I was thinking about in certain how things have changed in just 20 plus years since I graduated. Someone brought up social media, and I always want to take a minute and talk about social media. I was going to mention Facebook, but I know I'll get a collective groan because that's so 2017. I don't even know what the hip. I don't even know if Fortnite is in now. I can't keep up with anything anymore. But look, social media is the bane of human existence. It's like the worst thing in the world, right? And I'm telling you that from a guy who uses it 10 times a day. And I try really hard to only talk about the positive. But if you see what's happening out there, we all know it. We've all seen it. The fact that it has the tendency to bring out the worst in people very easily. Somehow society has deemed it okay that we can say whatever we want about an individual, public or private, as long as we're not looking at them in the eye. And when you get down to what that's about, it's about connection to people. Right? Technology is a wonderful thing, but it's made it so easy not to truly connect with an individual. But at the end of the day, that's what this live free or die thing is all about. That's what community is all about. The rarity of seeing someone that can truly write a handwritten note now. Right? I used to get these amazingly scripted letters from my grandmother. And there's some that still do it out there. It's wonderful. I'm an engineer. I write in block letters. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm one of the few or I should say the many that just can't get it right sometimes. But the value of that, we tend to do everything in text and emails instead of looking somebody in the eye and really connecting with them. That brings me to one of my biggest encompassing points, which I cannot stress enough. It's this word empathy, right? Empathy. What we talk about, a lot of us understand what empathy is. Empathy is simply the ability to appreciate the point of view of someone that you're talking to on any given issue. We talk about empathy a lot. Oh, I understand what he's talking about. But do we really practice it? Do we practice the ability to say, I really appreciate where this individual is coming from? And we talk about politics a lot. Let me tell you something. Politics is not Fox versus CNN. You got to get ready for something. Politics is in your everyday life. Office politics, home politics, family politics, school politics. Politics is simply the ability to personally navigate the challenges that are going to come before you. And you're going to deal with it every single day, unfortunately. That's why having a real sense of empathy, practicing that, building habit out of that is so important. And one of the other most important things that you got to do, you got to really understand how to stay grounded. I mean, we can all get caught up in our lives. Somebody said to me, Governor, you're so busy. I'm no busier than anybody else. Mine's just very public. I don't know any parent out there who has 2 seconds to rub together. We're all running around like chickens with our heads cut off. We're going to work, we're going to sports games, we're picking up the kids from school, we're making sure homework gets done, we're planning this, we're planning that. The world is going at 150 miles an hour. It's hard just to keep up. But you got to stay grounded. What is your grounding? You might not know today. I didn't know for a long time. But for me, it's my family. For some people, it's their faith. I met a young woman, for her grounding was her pets, her animals. Every day she came home and she could just be with her dogs. She had 2 dogs. She said, it helps me put everything in perspective. You got to find that. You do. Because the world goes fast. There's so much toxicity. There's so much negativity and stresses out there. You got to start now to find a way to make sure that when the going gets tough, and it's going to get tough almost every day out there, you got to have a way to come back to something that grounds you, that reminds you to kind of keep it real. The last unsolicited piece of advice, which means you probably shouldn't take any of it, I guess. And this is, I think, one of the most important things, and it's a little scary in a way. But something you have to appreciate, especially for a high school graduate, someone who is commencing into their next steps, is I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now. And know this, you have no idea where you will be, who you will be with, or what you will be doing. You really don't. And it's a lot of people say, this is my path. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to go work, in high tech. I'm going to be a computer coder. Let me tell you, 100 million things are going to come in your way. And a lot of that may come to fruition. That's wonderful. But embrace the unknown. Embrace the fact you really have no idea what is ahead of you. And that's a great thing because it's all opportunity. It's all on the table. I never thought in 100 years I'd be governor. I really didn't. I grew up, I was number 7 of 8 kids. I was as shy as they come. I was that kid that was constantly wrapped around my mother's leg. I mean, I didn't want, and so I'll tell one of my more embarrassing stories. Why not? I'm standing here. I'm the governor. You all have to listen to me. So my dad was governor. And he dragged us around the state. And we'd go to all these political events. And one year, we go, I'm 7 years old, 8 years old at the time, and we show up in, I think it's Nashua, at a fashion show. And I think, what am I doing here? This is like a Saturday. I don't want to be here. And then I find out that it's some sort of weird fundraiser, and myself and all my brothers and sisters are actually in the fashion show. And I just start crying. And I'm quietly weeping in the corner. I'm like too shy to cry in front of people. And then they pull out what they want me to wear. And it's the most ridiculous plaid blue suit. To this day, I remember it. I will be on my deathbed forgetting everyone's I love in their name, and I will still remember that darn plaid suit. I almost used a bad word. And I begged my parents, don't let me go out there. And they did it. They threw me in that plaid suit, and now I'm bawling. I am bawling so bad, and I'm walking on this ridiculous runway, and people think it's cute. And I come back, and I remember, I was young, I was about 8 years old, and I remember thinking to myself, if this is public service, I want nothing to do with it. And it's a dead true story. And I said, this just isn't for me. God bless other people who want to do it. This is not for me. It's not for me. And I became an engineer, and a business consultant, and I'm running a ski resort. And the next thing you know, I'm governor. So I am living proof that you really have no idea what's ahead of you, and that's a great thing. It really is. In this country, in this state, wherever you are, it's all about doors of opportunity. Seek them out, find them, and don't look for the doors that are easy. If it's an easy door, it's not worth it. You got to work hard. You got to have hard days. And you got to work hard at being the person you want to be, because it's hard work. It is. I'm envious. One of the youngest governors in the country, and I'm so envious about all the opportunity you guys have ahead of you. The fact you are one of the top-ranked high schools in the country. The fact you have $1 million of scholarships. The fact you have kids that have done tens of thousands of hours of community service. You are well on your way. The world is your oyster. Take advantage of it. Congratulations again. Make the best of it. Good luck.
It is my pleasure to introduce Keelan Faith McNamara, the class of 2019 Salutatorian.
Hello. I consider myself extremely lucky that the past 4 years have not been defined by grades, classes, or even a lack of sleep, but instead have been defined by the people that I've spent it with. All my favorite memories have been friends, teachers, and family around me. Sometimes you can't choose the person you're closest with. Take, for instance, my twin sister, Allie. No matter how hard I tried, I could never seem to escape her or hide anything from her, for a matter of fact. When I was in charge of driving to school one morning, which I never am, I may have accidentally left the car running for all of Block 1. Oops. Despite my many attempts to keep this small mishap under wraps, she still found out about it within an hour. Now let's just say I do not drive anymore. Despite sometimes I wish I had beaten her up in the womb, I could not be where I am today without her. She's been someone I can rely on, someone who challenges me, and someone who's made me into a better person. Thank you, Allie, for pushing me, and not only being my biggest competitor, but my bestest friend. And just know, and I really mean this from the heart, I'm still the superior twin. Over the past 4 years, I've found a family being a warrior. Looking back, it was never about the wins and the losses. It was about the teammates that volunteered their time to cornrow everyone's hair so we'd intimidate rivals like Exeter and Portsmouth. It was about the hugs and tears of joy after goal celebration and comeback wins. It was about spending the entire bus rides back from away games, screaming and dancing to All I Do Is Win. It was about Coach O'Brien talking about soccer lineups in the middle of February, only because he couldn't contain his excitement. It was about struggling through endless sprints in April and then sprinting through playoffs in June. To my coaches and teammates, thank you for being my second family. The one thing that has been constant throughout is the support from my family. My dad is my biggest fan in all aspects of my life, usually sporting his Winnacunnet lacrosse t-shirt with the Twins on the back. He is one to always offer an encouraging word after a loss and a hug after a win. There is no amount of thank yous that can truly express my gratitude for all you've done. My mom is never one to be anything but positive. It may just be from her 8 cups of coffee by 7 a.m., but every morning she greets me with 1,000 words and quotes. I may not be appreciative that morning, just waking up, but I hope you know I appreciate it now. Thank you to my aunts and uncles and grandparents for being friendly faces in the stands, especially you, Uncle David. Thank you, Liam, Katie, and Beth, for cheering way too loudly and never letting me doubt my awesomeness. My closest friends have come from some cold, bitter, and unexpected places, like Alaska or AP Chem. It's bonds that you don't see coming that impact you the most. You all have made me laugh harder, smile wider, and work harder than I've ever imagined. Thank you to those who hack the school Wi-Fi for fun. Thank you to those who never run out of dark chocolate to share. And thank you to those who have a horrible taste in music. Thank you for letting me be authentic. Lastly, I've learned that there will always be people that say no, but you must keep on pursuing your passions. Like that one time, one Saturday morning, working on the Winnacunnet. I'd been itching all year to ride a razor scooter down the smooth, embanked, and abandoned halls of Winnacunnet. With no administrators around, there could not have been a better time. Finally, my one true life goal would be complete. Unfortunately, old Mr. Michaud doubted my scootering abilities, and he strongly declined my request to scoot. He said I would endanger my lacrosse career, whatever that means. I could have listened to his no, I could have gotten back to work. But you can't let anything get in the way of your dreams, especially a no. So when he wasn't looking, I took that scooter right down the linoleum hallway and never looked back. Class of 2019, remember to surround yourself with people you love and continue to push your limits, regardless of who tells you you can't. Thank you.
And this time, please welcome Patrick Moore and the Chamber Singers.
Salutatorian on the stage. Excuse me. We're going to be going right over there for the ceremony. Okay? We're just going to come around and
and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me.
If the sky that we upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea,
I will cry, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, 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 stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me.
I'm going to get the
Stand by me.
Me? Okay, thanks. I gotta go over and get in position. Ladies, it's been fun. Thank you.
Okay, this time I ask Mr. Michaud and Mrs. Borden to come to the podium, and Dr. Lupini and Mr. DeBoule to join me on the ramp.
Just get nervous.
Camera, go ahead.
McLean William Baker. Magdalene Jean Brown. Allison Hope McNamara. Keelan Faith McNamara. Catherine Grace Moran. Jenna Lynn Myers. Cassidy Kaysen Tanner O'Donnell. Zachary Bruce Rumler. Catherine Thomasina Scheck. Caitlin Rose Trott. Melissa Quinn Rooney. Megan Francis Abbey.
Emily Sheila Albright. Lauren Pauline Alkire. Andy Rose Allaire. Benjamin August Allen. Brendan William Anderson. Dalen Victoria Annis. Amelia Marie Anzalone. Thomas Piper Audette. Cameron Richard Ayers. Victoria Oliveira Azori. Christopher Connor Banks. Joseph Lawrence Barbieri.
Joshua Travis Basti. Cho Jung Young Xander Batchelder. Keegan Gallant Baylor. Alexander Matthew Beal. Nicholas Andrew Beal. Rylan James Benoit. Cecilia Bahari. Thomas Paul Birch. Dana Ellen Bookman. Abby Janelle Bourne. Hannah Lee Bork. Olivia Rose Boyle.
Richard William Brady. Katarina Ray Brandt. Aaron Joseph Brown. Ava Rose Brown. Deacon James Brown. Elizabeth Anna Brown. Haley Catherine Brown. Melissa May Brown. Audrey Frances Canfield. Blair Elizabeth Carlson. Jason Wendell Cassetta. Joshua Daniel Chase.
Noah Alden Cheney. Linda Chung. Emma Louise Clark. Josephine Elizabeth Collin. Riley John Collins. Jaylee Marie Conley. Leah Elaine Connolly. Tate Ashton Cooper. Emily Hope Kopp. Troy James Corcoran. Hannah Elizabeth Crooks. Andrew Michael Cropper.
Veronica Marie Cruz. Caitlin Ann Curran. Anthony Guy Daniels. Kyle Robert De Almeida. Austin Ware Dennis. Monique Lynn Deshane. Catherine Hazard Desmond. Joshua Peter Dirksen. Evan Healy Domingos. Jack Kyle Donovan. Angel Marie Dow. William Douglas Dow.
Jack Harrison Dowd. Jake Patrick Duffy. Daniel Curtis Dugan. Sydney Lee Dunham. Emily Ann Eaton. Gabriel Malcolm Eaton. Jacob Michael Eichelser. Jennifer Elaine Eldridge. Zachary Aaron Falzerano. Maggie Kathleen Farrell. Seamus John Fenlon. Jenna Marie Fiore.
Matthew Francis Ferrantini. Michael Anthony Forcier. Lauren Nicole Fowler. Macy Lane Frazier. Haley Lauren Garrettson. Brianna Lauren Garrison. Olivia Rose Garish. Daniel Marco Giacalone. Brianna Alexis Brito. Sierra Marie Gonzalo. Anna Elise Gourgeot. Louis Benjamin Granger.
Fenya Robin Groom. Charlotte Haley Grippo. Evelise Afonso Guides. Kristen Rose Giorda. Nadia Ruth Hamdi. Alden Bell Hart. Ashley Suzanne Hart. Joe Gail James Helinski. Lauren Catherine Hill. Tyler Patrick Hoare. Kaylee Ann Hubin. Haley Morgan Holstein.
Jessica Danielle Hughesby. Sophia Grace Indelicato. Jesse Dolph James. Connell Wesley Johannesson. Sarah Mary Joyce. Brendan Robert Kazmarzik. Ryan William Kazmarzik. Aaliyah Audrey Capanabo. Elizabeth Grace Kennedy. Noah Christian Cairns. Parker Tabo Kirby. Brennan Edward Kittredge.
Jacob Ignatius Claderis. Nicole Marie Knowles. Marissa Suzanne Lamprey. Joseph Kenneth LaRosa. Slade Thomas Lashesky. Megan Janice Levine. Lindsay May Leach. Lydia Ruth LeBlanc. Brian Webster Lee. Gavin Joseph Lejeune. Vincent Robert LePere. Ashley Anne Marie Levesque.
Michaela Catherine Linehan. Samantha Lynn LaPetrie. Shanier Joan Lones. Kira Jolie Lyford. Mason Ian McDonald. Joseph Spencer McDougall. Amanda Mary Marsden. Tegan Edward Marshall. Molly Alice Maynard. Macy Elizabeth McAdden. Brooke Elizabeth Mackerlane. Justin Ferrari McNally.
Madeline Elizabeth Melita. Maria Mara Manas. Nicholas John Merrick. Megan Lynn Micah. Jada Diane Miles. Janet Wenjiro Marango. Brenna Frances Mooney. Carly Elizabeth Morse. Alexa Marie Murphy. Henry Clifford Nadeau. Scott Timothy Nichols. Shelby Marie Nicholson.
Jaden Angel Rain Nickel. Bria Isabel Nielsen. Charlotte Lauren Noonan. Taylor Elizabeth Neidham. Ladette Jeffrey O'Connor. Hayden J. O'Hara. Aiden Nicholas O'Keefe. Shannon Elizabeth O'Leary. Samuel Jacob Pierce. Madeline Geraldine Pender. Briley Elaine Penniman. Kirsten Paige Perkins.
Rowan Mary Perkins. James McKinley Fennessy. Courtney Pamela Pierce. Benjamin Edward Pollock. Seth Peter Pombrion. Jacob Arthur Potman. Thomas Frederick Pryor. Brennan Michael Prue. Patrick Stephen Quinn. Chad Edward Reardon. Lainey Rose Renaud. Grace Evelyn Rigini.
Abigail Marie Ritchie. Patrick Michael Robbins. Tess Francis Rogers. Jeremy Norman Richard Rollins. Edward Robert Rosado. Lauren Elizabeth Roughsedge. Ashley Breeden Southfield. Abigail Jane Saltmarsh. Anthony Joseph Salvaggio. Jack Francis Shockey. Adam Tyler Schmidt. Katie Jacqueline Schuster.
Sean Daniel Sears. Callie Ann Sharp. Savannah Nicole Sigmund. Adrian Arlindu Silva. Abby Moon Samar. Adele Marie Sinagra. Megan Eileen Smith. Violet Ann Stanley. Samantha Struther. Kyle James Sullivan. Dylan Jonathan Swain. Haley Amber Tatterfield. William Ross Thompson. Maya Emily Deswani.
Jacob Kenneth Tomlins. Jayla Bernadette Torres. Nikki Treadwell. Mills Bailey Waddell. Daisy Jane Wagner. Bryson Scott Walker. Sarah Horton Wasson. Charles Daniel Webb McLean. Matthew Richard Wentworth. Stephen Richard Wentworth. Elias Jabez Witham. Sarah Marie Wood. Cole Arthur Woodman. Rachel Elizabeth Worden.
Okay, I'm going to ask Elizabeth Kennedy to come forward to the platform. And while Elizabeth does that, can I have the teachers form a receiving line? So where's Elizabeth? And we have one more step. I'm going to ask Dr. Lupini to come to the podium.
Congratulations to the graduates. We're so proud of you. And as other people have said tonight, please know that you always have a home here. So I've asked Mac to come up here and help me with the tassels. You're on. You have to move.
You guys ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's on my secret file.